Welcome to the brand new series, Spidey Classics. Guys, I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. If you love daily comic book content, you like me helping you make decisions on what comic books to buy, and you've been watching for a while and you haven't hit that subscribe button, well, this is the perfect time to hit it because we got a brand new series on deck for you, again, called Spidey Classics, covering your favorite webhead. If you're tired of the new Spider-Man comics and you want to relive the glory days and the classic stories, well, this is going to be the perfect series for you. And it's knocking two birds out with one stone, because these are the comic books that are actually in my collection. So you're going to see Spider-Man comics in my collection and the stories being covered. So you couldn't ask for anything more. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get started. So the first book we're going to talk about on Spidey Classics, it's an oldie, it's a goodie, it's a fragile one. That is The Amazing Spider-Man issue 17. Out of the bag, out of the board. I'm telling you, this is from my personal collection. No digital stuff here. We're going to go through it, right? This book is my oldest Spider-Man or oldest Amazing Spider-Man comic that I currently own. You can see it's a little rough around the edges in here. There's actually like a little tear in the cover right there. If you look closely, there's like a ring where someone put their glass on. It's awesome. You open it up, you smell it. It's got that classic comic smell. So good, man. Second appearance of Green Goblin. 32 pages. This book is 12 cents. It was released July 9th, 1964. It's got characters in here like, of course, Spider-Man, Betty Brant, who is Peter Parker's girlfriend at the time, Charlie Murphy, Doran Evans, Flash Thompson, Human Torch, J. Jonah Jameson, Liz Allen, May Parker, and a bunch of other characters in here. Now, what this story had to offer, I gotta be careful. What this story had to offer, again, was the Green Goblin making his appearance here. So Flash Thompson is such a huge fan of Spider-Man, but hates Peter Parker, but he wants to create this huge party, this fan club, to invite Spider-Man. So they get this fan club together. The Daily Bugle is going to be there. And then what happens is the Green Goblin makes his appearance and spoils the party. And it was cool seeing these two fight. It was so different from what, like, the comics you read today. The dialogue is insane. There's so much of it. It takes you like 45 minutes to read this book. You definitely get your money's worth here. And you get to see kind of like Liz Allen figuring out, why is Peter never here when Spider-Man is here and all this other stuff. But when Green Goblin makes his attack, we see the Human Torch team up with Spider-Man and trying to stop the Green Goblin. But what happens in this issue is May Parker winds up, or Aunt May winds up suffering from a heart attack. Spider-Man is forced to leave because, of course, he's Peter Parker. He's worried about his aunt, has to go to the hospital. Now Spider-Man's got the bad rap. J. Jonah Jameson is going to put it on the paper, and all the fans are down on Spider-Man, calling him a yellow belly and all this other stuff. Just great. You gotta love just the ads in here, as well as it talks about subscribing to Marvel Comics and just all these different things. Absolutely a great time machine type of comic, just to see the way they were written. Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, awesome duo at the time. If you get a chance to read this comic, it's fantastic. Nothing is better than reading this comic, though, physically in your hands, if you're willing to risk it, right? So I forgot to mention, in the last Amazing Spider-Man comic we just discussed, I think it was the second mention of Mary Jane in that comic as well. It was kind of funny to read it, like he was supposed to go on this date, and then like she wound up getting sick. And then she's like, no, I'll go after all. And he just like runs away from her because he knows he's dating Betty at the time. So funny. But anyway, the next Spidey classic we're talking about is Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man. This is issue 2. Now, I have issue 1 in a facsimile edition, but none of that reprinted crap. We're only pulling old stuff, right? So here is the comic right here, straight from the PC. And this one was made in October 26th of 1976. 32 pages for the price of $30, written by Jerry Conaway. This one art is done by Sal Buscema. The artwork in this comic is great. You can tell already it's much more modernized at this point in time. You're going 11 years into the future. You got these nice pinup pages in here. The colors look great, like the font in here. And the paneling is a little bit bigger so you can actually see our characters in action. And in this book, you get to see some fun ads. And there's an ad in here for Bring On the Bad Guys. Isn't that currently something we're reading right now in Marvel Comics? Oh my God, it's hilarious, dude. But yeah, again, just seeing all these different characters in here, you know, how they're drawn in the 70s is just, again, a time machine when it comes to the smells. Smells good, doesn't smell bad. Really good comic. Now, in this book here, it focuses on Kraven the Hunter and the Tarantula. So, Kraven the Hunter and the Tarantula are hired to take on this guy that's at some university. I guess maybe that's stealing money or whatever. So, they're teaming up with each other to do that. And then when they capture this guy, Spider-Man comes across the Tarantula and Kraven the Hunter. Kraven the Hunter gets tied up with Spider-Man. Tarantula escapes, and Tarantula winds up getting all the money here. But there's some hidden bad guy that you don't know about at this point in time that's giving the Tarantula and Kraven the Hunter the job. And who is that bad guy? I guess we're going to have to, wait and find out as you read going forward. This one wasn't as strong for me as The Amazing Spider-Man. It just seemed to focus more on Kraven the Hunter and Tarantula with a very weak villain plot. I guess the whole thing is the mystery aspect, like who is that villain? But nevertheless, it was entertaining, and I like seeing the more modern art style in this comic book. Now, I gotta be honest with you, a lot of these Amazing Spider-Man comics, old school Spider-Man comics, I haven't read in years. And you forget what these stories are about. So the wonderful thing about this series is rereading all these books and just getting that fine appreciation of what the character really once was, right? And now, this is the book that I was probably most excited to reread out of these first three that we're talking about this week. And this is Web Spider-Man. This is issue 1, released on December 25th of 1984. This is the third series that was launched behind Amazing Spider-Man after Spectacular Spider-Man. This is a 32-page comic book for the price of 65 cents at the time. This book is like $20 in a raw copy, but if you get it graded at a 9.8, it's probably around $190 or so, probably fluctuates, right? This one is written by Louise Simonson. The art is done by Greg LaRocca. Listen, this, out of all the books that I've showed you, the other two books that I showed you is obviously the most modernized Spider-Man, right? It opens up with this. That's right, the black suit. This is a story about Peter and the black suit having its final confrontation before Peter says, "No more black suit, I want you completely off of you." And you get to see the struggle through this entire issue of what Peter is going through with this series. Now, if you read previous issues of The Amazing Spider-Man, and eventually we will cover that, Peter realized that his suit was alive, and he gave it to the Fantastic Four to study it. Well, in this issue, it's known that the suit actually made its way back to Peter Parker's house, disguised itself, and is on Peter once again, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get this suit off of him. Meanwhile, he's fighting these guys called the Vulturians, right? They have Vulture tech, and they're trying to test out this tech for the first time. Their names are really cheesy, like Pigeon and Honcho and things like that. And we see Spider-Man confront these guys for the first time, and they can take him on because the Spidey black suit is fighting with Peter Parker to continue its bond with each other, right? And it was just hilarious to see that Spidey was, struggling against these guys, but he had a good reason. But the big thing about this is obviously the scene that we all know is that he goes to the clock tower one final time to try to get this suit off of him because he knows the suit is weak to loud vibrations or sonics. And at the end of the day, the suit winds up saving him because it bonded with him. But they've never bonded with each other ever again. I would say they kind of have, but not in a permanent basis like they once did. And so from this point out, right, we know the black suit bonds with Eddie Brock in the future, but it was kind of a sad ending to actually see how much the black suit or the symbiote actually cared for Peter Parker back then, and it doesn't say a single word. Man, this book was absolutely freaking phenomenal. This was my favorite out of the 3 that I read. Now, obviously different time periods. You had the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s here. This is a much more modern comic book and kind of the book that I'm used to reading when I was a kid. The 60 books, I haven't read that many of them, but it is interesting to see how things were set up back then. So, however, this was the greatest book that I read for the week when it comes to the Spidey Classics. So, yeah, it was great reading them. Really enjoyed it. Had a blast with it. Let me know if you read any of these 3 books. If anything, I had to guess you guys all read The Web of Spider-Man issue 1. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the first episode of Spidey Classics. Love bringing it to you. Next week, I'll bring you another 3 Spidey Classics to talk about. And like I said, they're all from my personal collection. They're going to be pulled out of their bag and board so I can show you that wonderful artwork and cover. So guys, if you love the series, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. I'll leave you more content right here for you to click on. And of course, guys, remember, support those local comic shops. Keep buying, keep collecting, but always remember, read your comics so we can have great comic conversation. Guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you real soon. Bye.